Hey, geezer, how you doing? Belgiar? I'm here, Belgian. How do you say it? Belgianor. I'm gonna call you Bell. Hi, Javi. How you doing? Tony, Joseph, how are you? Hi, Mark, Donald. Oh, you must be in Hawaii. What time? What time is it in Hawaii now? Tomorrow? Oh, and hi, Joseph. Two Josephs. The more, the merrier. Oh, good. Hey, thanks, Donald, for letting me know. I think I may have changed one of my settings for it and get better. So, Donald, you're at 11 a.m. on Sunday, is that right? I'm. This is like a time machine. I'm talking into the future, and you're talking to the past. Oh, anyway, um, what I wanted to talk about today is something that and I really like your input about it. Hi, Mr. Gumby. Oh, it's still Saturday. Okay. 11 a.m. on Saturday? Huh, okay. I guess you're way before we are then. Okay. Hi, Abdul. How are you? Okay. Um, Hi, Junior. This is what I wanted to talk about. And I don't want to do this in a trollish way, which can be difficult. Hey, Mark. Um, oh, good. I'm glad you like that. Hey, by the way, everyone, excuse me. um, I have all of the stuff that I did and plus more on a PDF file that I did, and I'll put it at the High Horology Lounge. I'll just post it up there, and then you guys can download it if you want. I find it very handy because I can just pop it and look at it up on my screen and so forth, and appear to be smarter than I am, which is helpful. Okay, 5 hours. Okay, guys. Well, let me tell you what I'd like to talk about today, and also too, there's something about the groups that that one of the comments brought up that was a very good point, and I'll talk about that for a second. He pointed out, he said, what these groups do, and especially a big group like um, Swatch, you you have to you don't want your brands that you own to compete against one another, and so you don't want your brigade competing with Blanc Pan, which they have a lot of similarities. And so if one has a certain kind of watch and they want to do something with it, you got to make sure that the other ones don't. And so in terms of using what we were talking about this morning, in terms of creativity, is that you've got to be very careful in this. Now, the way I see it, there's two ways. On the one hand, you can't do anything you want to. On the other hand, no, you've got to really sort of figure out some way to put something new that's not going to bump one of the other ones. Same thing with the Richemont group. Um, now on the other hand, when you're a smaller group like what is it, LTVM, LV, right, MTLV, the Louis Vuitton group. Now, they don't have that many watches, and so your Bulgari and your Zenith aren't going to compete that much. Hi, Mark. How you doing? Oh boy. Hi, Hans. How are you? Um, oh, good, good. Yeah, Hans. I changed some settings on here that I had. There's one kind of setting I have to have lots of bandwidth available for uploading it. But if I do that live, what happens is that it works fine for a while, and then the bandwidth has to sort of get more. juice, for lack of a better term. Okay, the issue with intergroup competition is that makes the customers more confused, which to get from more. Yeah, you know, here's the thing. Well, anyway, so let's get on this afternoon's topic that I hope to talk about, and this is really to make our discussions, I think, more useful for each other. And that is that I've noticed that certain people, and not individuals, but it can be anybody, come along and they say things like one of the things they say, they'll see something, for example, by Chanel, and they'll say, "Oh, it's a fashion watch." They got, I don't know, there's a watch that I think it's called Monsieur Chanel. That thing is amazing, and the watchmaker was like somebody hugely famous, his watches are worth a fortune. And so that's one of the things. You got to be careful. I mean, a fashion watch like a Burberry with quartz in it and stuff like that. Some of those, yeah, those are fashion watches. But a Chanel, generally not so much. Even their, what is it called? I think it's called a J12. That thing has got that Kinesi movement in it, that they're in cahoots with Tudor and a factory built by Rolex. So it's the kind of thing that doesn't make you look especially bright, even if it is a fashion watch. I mean, the way to talk about a fashion watch is that, didn't that thing run on quartz, or something like that? So I mean, it's just sort of like one of those. You've probably seen it before. That's one thing that always sort of got to me. Hey, Stephen, you and Filk, Fike, man, I tell you, the guy, a mug of beer to you, Fike. Anyway, the whole point is that, let's talk about watches without what amount to be slogans, and oftentimes they're just like really dumb slogans. Okay. And so that's one thing I hope we can avoid. Thank you, Forbin. Hey, Rick on. Anyway, so that was one thing. Now, another one that sort of gets to me a lot, somebody said this about Cyril's watch that we had up. Here's a $75,000 or Swiss francs or euros, it's 75,000 or something, by this incredibly talented young guy. And he said, well, that's just like a Breguet tradition. No, it's not a thing like it. But it's sort of like they've got it. If they see something that looks at all like something that they know, they claim, well, they stole it. Nobody stole it. And it doesn't tell you very much about it. I mean, here you have a key wound watch. By the way, too, this is something that I told everyone this morning, and I think I told you guys last week I'd check on. And I did today, and let me tell you what I found out and what the whole issue was. Remember I told you there's this guy that I know who had bought all of these Fuzzy and Chain movements, and I mean like a lot of them. And so I called him a while back and I said, hey, would you be interested in selling some of those? And he said, well, they're clock movements. They're not watch movements. And I thought about it. Still, it'd be sort of cool to have a Fuzzy and Chain movement of some sort. I'll build a clock with it. That would be fun. And when I talked to him today, he was right in the middle of something because I wanted to get some idea of prices and so forth. But that's okay because let me ask you, would anybody be interested in getting a Fuzzy and Chain movement for themselves that you can play around with, maybe make a clock with it? That's something I want. Anyway, hi, Alex. How you doing, man? Hi, dear Aller. Hi, King. How you doing? Anyway, so that was another thing I said I'd check on, and I did. But fortunately or unfortunately, I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, there are a few guys. That's good. And then next time, I can tell you, how much he wants for them, how big they are, and so forth. And that would be sort of cool to have some. I don't, he lives up the road about about an hour and a half away from where I am, and in the pandemic, it's very tricky, you know. Yeah, Junior. Yeah, same thing as prices. Yeah, price. Yeah, and if the guy says, "Oh, yeah, these are great. They're $5,000 a piece," I'm gonna say, "Oh, never mind." Um, it's. I think we might be able to get them for a decent price. I hope so anyway. But like I said, Fuzzy and Shane. Now I do know that if you're interested in getting one, another source of those, you can go online. You can find them in pocket watches, but in the Fuzzy and chains have to be pretty big. That's how come you don't see them in too many wristwatches. I think Alonga had one for a while, and there may be some others, but not too many. Have you ever looked at Josh Shapiro, California-based, specializing in detailed dials? Yeah, I have, Rick. Um, I probably the less said about Josh Shapiro. Let me say this, okay, about his watches. They're excellent watches. Okay, what you get is that he learned how to use they don't call them a Rose engine, something like that, and he does his own Guilloche by hand. All right, those are nice. He puts in a UWD 31.1 movement. All right, and he, sells them or tries to sell them for $20,000. I don't find that to be watchmaking, except on a certain kind of thing. Now, you take, for example, Harboring 2, you get what amounts to very close to a handmade movement. They only produce a few hundred a year, and for like a fraction of that. And Josh, I think, he certainly has talent in terms of the Guilloche. But after the Guilloche, you're talking about a case and a movement by the movements, as I think we all know. If you buy a UWD 31.1 movement, you're paying, I think, about $4,000. And so anyway, but Josh Shapiro is, I don't know. I think he was a little upset with me for not getting real excited about his stuff. It's not bad. I just don't think it's $20,000. If I'm going to spend that much on a watch, I'm going to get something by a watchmaker. I'll put it that way. But nothing bad about the guy. He's a good guy. He's trying to get over. Okay, could you get a Fuzzy and chain from Schwinn? Jesus Christ, Mark. Yeah, you can. I tell you, go down to your Schwinn shop, your bicycle shop, and ask them, and they'll fix you up. Looking at June Hahn's Olympic with the Bruin Caliber 12, any thoughts? I don't know that much about Bruins. I have no idea what they've done with them, Alex. Maybe some people from our German group could tell you. Okay, Langenheim's Movement Company. Yeah, right, Rick. That's the one. And it's excellent. I mean, I love that movement. Each one of the wheels in the gear train have their own little finger bridge on them. It's a wonderful movement. There's no two ways about that. I was when I was trying to get us to get Marco Lang to perhaps produce an inexpensive movement for us to get. He said, this is essentially what I did with the UWD 31.1. And, he's right. That's exactly what he did. And so, if you want one, you can go to Langenheim and they'll sell you one. Great movements. It's the movement in the Hoyer Monaco. That's something like a caliber 11. Is that right? Or a caliber 7, Alex? I'm not sure which. Hi, Ronan. How you doing? Brigade, Roman Gadier also have Fuzzy and chain. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that. Um, yeah, Romain Gautier, he would. What is the Breguet, Ronan, that has the Fuzi and Chin? The modular micromotor. Huh. Okay. Thanks, Alex. Hi, S. Perez. Things made in California come with California prizes. what, what, like a California dial? The first was 11. The 12 is just the upgrade. Okay. All right. Thanks. That's good to know. Okay. Let's go back to some things that people say that are perhaps a little, that aren't the most useful thing, other than, well, it's a fashion watch. The other thing is, oh, that's just like this other thing, this other watch, when it really wasn't. And people who make those statements make themselves look really dumb, because it's sort of like, oh, he used there's an Art Deco used that. Well, that's just like so and so used. Well, it's a whole art form, or they use an octagon, so it must be the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. No, octagons are just what is a basic shape. Plus the fact that Gerald Genta, who designed the Royal Oak, also designed a lot of other watches or influenced them a lot. He used to work at Bulgari, and so to see his influence on one of their designs, it shouldn't surprise anyone. Okay, anything that Archie says is dumb. Oh, pick on Archie. Archie's getting through life in his own special way. Dismissing Tudor as a Rolex shadow is a common line. Yeah, Tudor has won a boatload of Grand Prix awards, and Rolex hasn't won any. So, yeah, the thing is that I think treating watches on their own merit, I think is fairly important. For example, I don't own a Rolex, but if I'm looking at Rolexes, I'm looking at more than just the superficial part of it, and the differences can be massive. For example, the Air King, which I happen to like, especially with the Bloodhound dial on it, has the same movement as the Milgauss, but costs $2,000 less. So when you say something looks like something, or is you better know what you're talking about. Is all I'm saying, and it doesn't really, you can get into big brawls with that, and that goes nowhere. The ones who are the drama queens, they slay me. They really do. Oh my God. I would never buy a watch because it uses a round dial. I know a watch that uses a round dial. That's the dumbest thing. I mean, it's really hard to take, and we don't really advance anything that way. But if we can talk about the designer, or we can talk about this or talk about that, I'm not saying that that's not true in some cases, and I'm certainly not saying that some watches aren't fashion watches, because they are. But rather trying to understand, really what's important. Now, one of the things that some people say all the time is that, what about the resale value? I don't buy watches that I'm planning to resale. Okay, so that doesn't bother me. Some of my watches have gone up spectacularly in prices because I got lucky. Others of it have gone down, but it doesn't really matter one way or the other if you have a watch that you think is a good watch because of whatever, the movement, the design, the materials, the watchmaker, whatever. I have, for example, excuse me, I don't think I'd ever want to sell my Van Cleef and Arpels. Wait a minute, doesn't Van Cleef and Arpels make jewelry? The answer is yes, they do. But it's one of the few watches, the time here and time there, that I won't try to mangle the pronunciation of. That watch is one of the few watches that has a pure Agenhor Jean-Marc Viderec movement. And so it's like, that's why I got it. I have no plans on selling it, and it probably the resale value on that, at least right now, isn't something I don't even know what it is. You can't find them. They like you, so I don't know and I don't care. And so when somebody says, "Wow, what about the resale value?" Saying, you take away from talking about the horology, and you're talking about something entirely different than the watch that you have. There's another thing too that's sort of related to that. Some people have their own style of collection. Okay, I knew this guy, and he collected these funky looking Tag Heuers with all different colors, and they were exactly the same. He got a kick out of those. It doesn't matter what you want to collect or why, really. And so trying to find the value to you in a watch and what you can afford. There's so many watches that I'd love to have that I can't afford. That one by Cyril, what's his face? That one with a wind up and so forth. 75,000 Swiss francs or euros or dollars or quid. It doesn't matter. I can't afford them. All right, or I don't want to afford them. One or the other is the same difference. But so what I did is that I made my own. I don't know if I was showing people this morning, and I had hoped that I would have it further along than I do, but I got it in the case, got the strap on, and the problem is, and I found out that I couldn't put the, I was going to drill holes in in a sapphire, but the case backs I have with a screw on. Well, you're going to have two things there that you can't screw on, and so I broke this off of the original one, and I'm going to put it on here, and I'm going to file it down, and then I'll have myself a nice watch. And some newbie who's got a lot of money, I'll tell him it's worth 75,000 Swiss francs. Okay. All right, what's going on here? A lot of people compare fashion watches with real watches and say, why should I pay that much more? I have to explain why fashion watches have worse value than any other. Now, Abdul, I know what you mean by that, and I think you don't mean value, you mean horology, right? They have less horology, and I would agree with that. Why is there one Van Cleef but plural Arpels? I have no idea. It's something there was what they have, and I think there's a plan among watchmakers, is that they want to vex the obsessive compulsives. Let's do this. We'll put an S on one and not on the other, and the obsessive compulsives will go nuts. How's that for an answer? I don't know. Dumb statement. A watch has to be expensive to be loved. Definitely not true. Good point, Mark. That's another one. So, there's a difference between a cheap watch and an expensive one. If you're smart, you don't have to spend a lot of money on an excellent watch. You can find some. I mean, there are some really excellent ones, but you got to spend your time doing research and find somebody who inherited it. They don't know. Oh, that Roger Smith that your grandfather left you, not worth much. But I'll tell you what, you're a nice guy, and I feel sorry for you for losing your grandfather. I'll give you $10 for it. That'll take good care of you. I mean, it's something like that. Then on the other hand, you've got the sellers. Let's see how much we can skin these suckers for. So it's something like that. Speaking of jewelry, how about those who dismiss companies like Bulgari and Mont Blanc? Yeah, exactly, Alex. Those are both good examples. Bulgari has their own movement now. Mont Blanc was given Minerva by Richemont. Richemont bought them, put them together, and so now they both have their own stuff. Arpels is not. Arpel. So it's Van Cleef and Arpel. Is that right? Isn't that something tonight? I probably was the one who screwed it up. I got my watch in my case. I'll look it up afterwards. There's only one George Daniels. That's true. There's only one. Let's see. Two founders, Alfred Van Cleef and Solomon Arpels. So there is an S. So make up your mind. Oh, it's not plural, right? I see what you're saying. That's just the S at the end of his name. Like the S at the end of my name doesn't mean there's more than one of us. A good point. Hi, Crappy. How you doing, man? I see what you're saying now. I play with words, but never in traffic. That's wise. It's very wise of you. You should buy a Vostok. Interesting Soviet history, inexpensive. Hey, listen, rats. Oh, good. My wife got it. I have. I don't have a Vostok, but I have a Poljot. So Poljot my Poljot has an alarm. I wanted an alarm watch. My hearing is shot. I've never had very good hearing, and so I can't hear them anyway. So I set them on vibrate and got a cheap thrill out of that. But you know, it's just if you want to watch for some feature of it that you like, but it's really not something you have to have or you want to spend a lot of money on, you can find some great one. This is one of my favorite watches. It's my only regulator. Now the regulator I absolutely love is the one by Laurent Ferrier. Beautiful regulator. But that thing is like $40,000 or something. This one I got for $200. And it works great. It's got a special Siegel movement in it that was made for a regulator, which means that they have the hour hand up here rather than in the middle. You know, there's all kinds of things you can do. No, I don't. Dear Aller Etchy King, I don't do that. I mean, it's like, why would I spend a whole lot of money on a watch that I don't want to keep? That I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to trade it in. If I trade in some of my watches, I'm sure I'll get taken to the cleaners. I don't care because I never bought them to trade them in the first place. Other ones I bought by sheer dumb luck have gone up to unbelievable prices. So, you know, you never know. Okay. Hey, Geezer. Let's see what's going on. The Navy beret is back. Oh, okay. It's actually black, and my other one is brown. So I have two berets, and I've got a special one that I keep in my closet. So, let's see. Serious question: has a watch fogged up outside in the winter? You know, Forbin, that is a good question about a watch fogging up. Usually, when I go on a walk during this kind of weather we have, I'll wear one of three watches. Okay. If I expected to get attacked by a bear, I'll wear my Seiko 5. That thing I'm afraid a lot to lose. For regular walk, I'll either wear my Parmigiani Colpa or my Roger Dubuis Easy Diver. Both of those have, one has a rubber and the other has a metal bracelet. This or another thing too, this is something else I do that a lot of my obsessive compulsive friends just went bonkers about. I like to wear this watch, and so I got another band for it. I call it a beater band. And so I put on my beater band, and I can wear it all over the place and get all goofy and sweaty and grungy and so forth. And I don't have to pay $400 or $500 for a new band. And I've got the original band, tucked away for special occasions. I don't know. Maybe I'll get it out and wear it for another time. Do you have a raspberry beret? No, I don't plan on getting a raspberry beret. The most of the raspberry ones seem to be like military. I'm not into military berets at all. Nothing wrong with them. It's just not, what I'm interested in. Bears only care about overhyped Rolexes. I know the bears and their Rolexes, they're bears. And get a Rolex. Okay. Well, guys, I tell you, my time is up. But one of the things, I just sort of think about some of the things that we tried to talk about a little, and that is that how do we, when we talk about when we're discussing watches and things like that, what are things that we'll focus on the horology of the watch and not some of these external things that may not be that important, really? That's all I wanted to talk about today. Okay. About 20 years ago, I slipped and fell on an icy sidewalk in White Plains, New York, and damaged a 1940 bull of a minute, man, given to my favorite uncle. Okay, man, I hope you're okay. I fell on ice last year. My wife doesn't want me to go outside anymore. Boy, I tell you, ice, you slip on ice and you go down fast and hard. So I've been very careful going out. And we got so much snow now. The snow helps, it doesn't ice up as bad. Okay, take care, be safe, do everything to keep yourself safe.